Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of World Builder. This episode, we're going to be building a tavern for our desert city. So, the tavern, it's similar in structure and style to the other houses around the area. Especially the walls and stuff is all pretty much the same. There are some differences, though, between this and the other houses. Namely that this is going to be a larger structure, to be able to fit more stuff in it compared to other houses. And it has more specialized rooms, rather than just having one big room in it. So, to start off with your tavern, you're going to need to make a shape, choose a shape that you want. Preferably pretty large. Mine could have been a bit larger, but it's okay. And some rooms should be, when you design it, think about what area you want to be like your seating area, and what area you want to be like a kitchen type area. A lot of taverns were also inns, so you could have, a second floor with rooms for people to stay in. Anyway, once you have that decided on your shape and where the rooms should go, you can build up the walls around it to match. I built all the walls the same, except I added in a balcony on one of the sides just to create a bit more interest in the shape, instead of it just being the exact same as normal. Also, windows would probably not be, there would probably not be many windows in the kitchen compared to windows in other places around the building. So I decided to add a balcony to the tavern. This isn't something that's, required to make the build look good or whatever, but I feel I personally wanted to do it just to create a bit of contrast and to make the building look better. So the initial height that I designed the building on didn't really work out with how the balcony was going to go. And that is because of these wood logs. Now, I've used these logs on every other desert house that I've made, so their purpose, they act as supports, but if the balcony was where it originally was, then that would mean that the wood logs would come too close to it and make it very hard to build anything on, so I decided to move the balcony a block lower. I also could have raised the roof of the tavern itself a couple blocks higher, but I think that would have been too similar roof size to the roofs of the house that is right next to it, because that is also a fairly tall roof because it's 2 floors. So, everything else is going pretty similar, except I took out made the pillars 1 wide instead of 2 wide over the balcony, just so that, the seating area that I want to put there isn't too obstructed. So, everything else about this building is the same to every other house, I think. Same stuff on the roof, same coloring, all that stuff. Gotta keep this block palette consistent. And I go around and do the same detailing as well, using buttons, fence gates, slabs, spruce trapdoors, all that stuff added onto it to make it look a bit nicer. Yeah. So, as we go onward, different blocks can be used in the balcony there, like I went with strip birch logs, or bark, to add a bit more accent to the way the thing looks. That's a bit of a panoramic shot. You can see what the whole thing looks like as we start on the interior. So originally the interior had some terrain in it, which, was interesting. It makes it more interesting for the exterior to be on terrain, but inside it's a lot easier if it's flat. So I made it flat. I earlier mentioned about segmenting off an area for the kitchen, and that can be demonstrated there, where the area with the stone slabs is the kitchen. So I wanted to make a bar so I decided to make a bar. But the issue came in with how I wanted to make seats for it. So I decided eventually on using pressure plates because they look good. But I went with fences, dark oak fences, and I used the debug stick to prevent them from connecting to each other, so that they only connect to the bar itself. And that looks way better, and I like the way that it turned out. So, in the kitchen, we have bone blocks as like a table cutting board thing, with redstone dust and netherwort blocks to act as, like blood or entrails of an animal that was recently killed and served to the customers. In terms of how they cook it, I don't really know. I'm sure they'd think of something. But yeah, I don't really know. There's also some cauldrons there. And some cauldrons there. There's a chest, I believe. And we are on this for a long time. Why? I'm confused. We should have moved away. Hello? Well, in case you wanted to learn all about cauldrons, now's the chance. Oh, there we go. I'm back. Nice to see you again. Okay. So, along with adding cauldrons into the thing, you can see I added some chests, some slabs and stairs, and those are like shelves. So, this building itself was really tall. Like, it's a pretty decently sized building, height-wise. So, I didn't want to just make it one floor, because if it was only one floor, then it would be very open-ceilinged, and, it wouldn't look as good. So, instead of making a full 2 floors, because making a staircase for a full 2 floors would, not be as interesting as the design that I chose for this. So instead, I went with like a loft type thing, to where you can go up the stairs to the balcony and the second floor, but the second floor isn't just the whole thing. It makes it more interesting for the first floor to not just have a staircase and then full of tables, in my opinion. Anyway, so I'm just doing some basic, chair, table designs. Nothing too fancy happening there, but I tried to place them so that they're not too, close to each other, but also not too far apart. And if I had more room on the inside, I feel like I could have done more, but I didn't really, so that's unfortunate for me. Okay, looking around, here everything is fine. So, originally with this, I was going to do stables, but then I thought, wow, stables are really not good. Why would I do stables for this? Because I have an inn, and the inn is probably where more people would be putting their horses, I'd imagine. So I wanted to put pigs out in the front, because the tavern would be raising pigs to serve to its people. So, originally I went with actual pigs, but then I decided that was a bad idea, because they could leave, and, they're mobs, and they could be unpredictable, even though they had a lead. So I ended up going with pink wool with buttons for eyes, and, I think that works. I added in brown wool, coarse dirt, and podzol to the ground, to make it look like dirt there, and I think the effect created by it is pretty good. So, as with every other house and building in this area, I wanted to do these little fence connector thingies, and then have banners on the side of them. I'm not sure what they actually are. I guess they'd be like clothes or something, like people hang out their clothes to dry. But yeah, I really like the way that they look, even if they don't have any, functional purpose. I think they look really good, so I wanted to keep them. So there's that. On the roof, everything else is the same to other buildings, except I went with some different types of blocks. I went with more food-oriented blocks, so bone blocks, and redstone and netherwort blocks, and pumpkins and melons. And with that, I'm going to leave this here. Leave a like, subscribe if you enjoyed, if you come with any feedback you have for me, and I will see all of you later. Bye.